the smile after a long day. I don't know, I might have dirt on it.
We're here in Kamouraska with Patrice, who is here going to talk to us about what he's doing here in the area about seed saving, number one, but also as I wouldn't say former artist, you still are. What you're doing here with not only the products here, but also creating a different scene here in this beautiful area in Quebec. So for those who are joining, please feel free to ask any questions as we kind of tour around this incredible, I don't know if this is considered a garden or would you...
It's more like, I like the word gardener, you know?
Yeah.
I consider myself more like a gardener than a farmer. It's like a very large garden, actually.
Hi, Richard. So we've got someone here tuning in from BC. So I know we've got a little bit of across Canada kind of coming in. We are right now in Quebec, and please do walk us through exactly, you know, what you've been doing here and how long you've been doing
Well, let's
here.
go right. Yeah, it's the 15th year.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first years, it's hard to get to be known as a seed company. So the first year, I would supply vegetables more to chefs, like Normand, who was the link for you coming here.
And that's actually, I should fill in for those who are tuning in. I had spoken to Chef Normand Lebris from Montreal. Thank you. Maybe about a month and a half ago, and he said, if you're coming to this area, and he's originally from this area, you must come here to the Société plants, and that's why we're here.
So I still supply a bit of some vegetables to him because we have a fun relationship.
Yes.
And I supply seeds to some people who grow out vegetables for his table. Mm-hmm. So there's it's like the source, you know, it's a whole chain of production that starts with as if the seed saving was the beginning of the recipe.
Wow.
If the seed saver is a gourmand, you know, because when we save seeds, we do selection. So the selection process is very important. Mm-hmm. Like most of the vegetables that we find in the groceries are selected for commercial purposes and ease of mechanism. For the industrial farming. So a lot of the heirlooms are interesting for us because they were selected for the home gardeners or hand gardening, craft gardening. So, and often they're much more tender. So they're better suited for a good restaurant.
So maybe you can walk us through some of what you've done here, because this is an incredible spread. I'm really liking it. Look at that. That is... What is that? That looks awesome.
Oh, there's a crimson flowered broad bean. Mm-hmm. So this is we're lucky here because around Montreal or Toronto it's too hot to do broad beans.
Yeah, so we had someone tune in from Toronto. So for those who are coming in from Toronto, which is Mark, I believe you had said, these are things we can't get in Toronto. But
maybe they are. I don't want to talk, but it's just that these prefer like a cooler area to grow.
And what are this? I guess you said it was a broad bean.
Fava bean or broad bean. Yeah, nice. You could use it for tempeh, or it's typically used for soup in Quebec. So it's typical of the northern East Quebec. Yeah.
Are the flavors much different, or the textures, or why is it so?
This is actually for British. It's a British variety.
Okay.
From the 18th century or something, but over in Europe they can grow it through the winter. Mm-hmm. Here, the summer is cool enough, we can grow it through the summer.
So for yourself, as a seed saver, does that mean that you bring these, I guess you can't really bring
these
them.
Are on the edge of extinction.
Oh.
This variety.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's gotten pretty rare. So my fun growing these things is, well, first, being able to provide seeds of rare breeds like this to home gardeners and gardeners for chefs, but also to do some research on what to do with these plants apart from their traditional uses. Like we've learned, like the fava bean here is a really good leaf vegetable actually. If you eat this here, the leaves, it tastes like sweet split peas, or like it's very sweet, and it's much sweeter than lettuce, and kids will go for this much more than lettuce. So, and it has protein in it, so it's like amaranth. So there's lots of greens for salad that are very rich.
Can I try it? Is that
okay?
Of course,
that's for you.
How could they get these seeds if they were interested?
Well, all the seeds are listed on my website, and maybe this one isn't on right now, but it will be after the harvest.
It tastes almost like pea shoots, but not
pea
really.
Shoots. Very tender.
But really tender, like you said, and almost Well, it has that grassy, but it's sweet. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Camille, you've got to try some of this too.
So, as a way of living, seeds to sell, and then you can munch on the top leaves.
And I would almost say that this is almost nice. Well, this is nicer than the standard like salad greens or anything like that. And to know it's healthy or more nutritious.
It doesn't keep you from producing the beans actually, because these are the top. This is a little early to harvest the tops. But as they go, the tops are the richest in nitrogen, and they attract ants. And
got it.
So it's good to cut them anyway. So you got like a double harvest.
So again, these are the leaves from. These are the what are these called again?
Broad beans.
Broad beans, but they're rare because they're hard to grow, and I guess it's an heirloom variety.
Some plants have the rights. Like here, it's a garden with rows, real rows. But there's plants that are allowed to go anywhere in the garden. So, like borage is one of them. So this is one of the. This is borage leaves. So it's known for its blue flowers. It's not in flower right now.
I've seen the blue flowers because they've been on a lot of restaurant menus,
but people don't know that they can eat the leaves so much.
What are
the
the
leaves
like?
are one of the best vegetables to cook.
Really?
So these, the big leaves like this, just like this before it blooms.
Yeah.
They make the best soup.
Oh, so like
that I know of.
Like you braise it and then you puree it?
Puree. I don't braise it. I just will go like in a broth.
Yeah.
Onion, a potato or something, and a broth, and then just this for 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
Last minute, and then you puree it.
Amazing.
And it's really fabulous.
And full of nutrients as well.
Oh yeah, and it's like it acts on the nervous system. It's like a sweet dope.
Did you all hear that? So for those who have borage flowers or I guess plants in their garden, you should use the leaves in a soup because it's like sweet dope. We got that quote.
It helps
Complete
to be in a good humor as long as it's cleansing for your system.
Excellent.
This is a whole bed of carrot seeds.
Like regular carrots or
this one is called Belgian white. It's an old forage carrot. So it was a breed of carrots that was used to feed the horses.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually really good. Like for a stir fry, it's my favorite because it's pretty crunchy.
So with something like this, I know that we were talking on the fact that you supply most of this to either those who are growing these heirloom seeds for themselves or maybe to that supply restaurants. Yeah. But if it's a regular consumer like myself, besides buying seeds from your website, is there any other way? Or I guess someone who doesn't have a green thumb, which Richard has said, what do we do? Like we hope that someone else maybe?
Yeah, well, these varieties are available through other sources anyway.
Okay.
Sometimes. But what is interesting in these varieties that are like they used to be fed to horses and cows, but they have other qualities that it's just that in the 19th century people had a less diverse way of cooking things. So nowadays we have like it just adds to the spectrum of things to do with carrots, because this one is much crunchier. Imagine a horse biting through a carrot. It needs to be crunchy. Yeah. So this is it.
So would you say this is also hardier too? So if you were storing them in the winter?
It's not as hardy for cold. Oh. It's less hardy for cold.
Okay.
But it's a good keeping carrot. But it's hardy in the way that it will take its place quickly with leaves that will shade weeds better than another carrot.
Wow. So well, I mean, I'm looking at them, and that looks pretty impressive. They almost look like giant
they're very nice.
Weeds, actually. I would have never known.
So this is a bed that was not touched. So that's what looks like a bed that is virgin. I mean, we haven't. This is going to be beets this year. So these are all my weeds. So you can see that my weeds are the plants that I collect seeds of, and there's always seeds that spill. So it's like wild pansy, German chamomile. Blue, a cornflower, auroch.
Yeah, Mark asks, what's the website? I don't know if you...
It's la société des plantes.com. It's only in French.
But if that's the case, if someone orders you in English is totally fine too.
Oh yeah, it's fine, and Google Translate helps a lot, and you just have to email me if you have questions, and I'll answer in English.
And I know that you mentioned you have a lot of varieties. Do you have a count of how many varieties right now that you are growing?
Right now, I don't have an account in this garden, but there's around 200 and something varieties on the site.
Wow.
Sometimes it's different species also. you'll notice there's a lot of absinthe everywhere around the garden.
Yeah.
So this is one of the seeds that I sell. A lot of people are getting into absinthe making.
Like as in the actual. So for those who are interested in absinthe or and that's not wormwood.
It's wormwood.
It is wormwood.
It is. That's the tall absinthe, and so that's the one used in one of the plants used.
Can I smell
in the
it, or is it?
Yeah. Look.
Oh wow, yeah, that smells.
It's very nice.
That smells exactly like absinthe. You should smell it too, Kevin.
Right. So it's a good plant to have around the garden for to keep some insects we don't want at bay.
Oh, so this is almost...
It's a repulsive plant.
Oh, wow. Is it because of the smell itself?
The smell, yeah, it's because of the smell. So it's one of my ingredients to stop some invasions.
And at the same time, do you... I don't know if this is allowed to be on air.
I've done absinthe.
You make your own absinthe. So I don't know. Someone asked, is there any hemp plants? I don't know if you've got absinthe. I'm thinking it might be a little bit better than...
So you see, we're quite up north, and it was snowing not so long ago here, so the zucchinis are not big yet. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is, like around late June, first leaf.
Wow.
But we'll get seeds in time because we're close to the sea. Yeah. So, the St. Lawrence River is wide enough that there's an effect that there's no hard frost until October usually. So it stretches the season compared to mountains.
So does that also mean because of those conditions, there are certain types of plants that grow better here, and that you're able to? Yeah,
some plants are sweeter here because it's cooler and we're in a low elevation. So some plants are hard to bring to seed actually, like lettuces, but they'll stay sweeter longer.
Wow.
Like sea kale, which is like I might show it to you. It's on the other side. It's like a wild cabbage.
That's incredible.
From the northern seas. So so it's only the beginning of the season. There's not like so much. If you came back in August, everything is really way up and jungle-like. Yeah.
And what happens in December? Do you also have other kind of perennials that you do have?
In December,
or not December, just wintertime.
In wintertime, it's like seed germ testing all the seed lots and packing all the seeds in time for January, which is the beginning of the season of seed sales.
Wow!
So that's what all of us seed savers do. Yeah.
And how many people are here to help? I know that you've got.
There's Charles here is my employee this year, and I had an intern for the past 2 months. Yeah. And I'm gonna need a little more help a little further in September, October.
Because this is a huge. I don't know how many square acres or.
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers, but it's big. But there's other gardens. There's other gardens on the land also.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. This is one of them. This is the main one. It's just that there's things even in the windbreaks I gather seeds of, like the rose hips. I gather seeds of. I gather seeds of the trees also. Yeah.
Thanks, Richard, for letting Mark know. Oh, hi. I'm Renee.
Patrick,
nice to meet you.
How are you?
Good. We're learning a lot about what's happening here. What's that gentleman?
This is my neighbor who rents the land for hay to feed the land.
Oh, wow.
I'm renting most of the land here because I was lucky enough to find this land for sale because that's one of the problems for young people who come farming is buying land. And it's way too big for me. Yeah. I have another garden like a mile away that makes it possible to do 2 different varieties of carrot, let's say, because there's some wooded area in between to keep from crossing.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you have it too close, whether or not that will affect.
One of the interests of living in Kamouraska is there's no wild carrot, there's no wild parsnip, so we don't have to bother like for crossing possibilities with these species. Yeah.
But if that's the case, in terms of for the growing conditions, is it you need insects and other kind of animals to help, or is it just all people?
Some plants self-pollinate, but here that's why there's so many things blooming around, and there's lots of flowers. Yeah, it's to attract pollinating insects. So I have good populations here.
And I have Mark who just asked, how hard is it for young people to get into, I guess, farming and whatnot? Or is it just, for me, I would imagine it's also hard to get young people interested because now a lot of people are moving up to
there's a
cities.
lot of young people coming to the area here. I think it's area-wise. I know, like in the Kootenays in BC, there's a lot of young people attracted to this area for this reason. Small farming, like here, attracts young people because it seems feasible to do it without like big expenses. So that's what it was here. It started small, and I did start doing seeds, but then I provided vegetables to restaurants. But we're so far from the main cities, and there's not so many restaurants in the area that I do provide vegetables to them, but not enough to make a living. So then it's just too much hassle to send the things to the city. So seeds make more sense, because you can send them. I can send them to many countries.
And where is the farthest countries, or where have you sent your seeds?
You know, as I said, my website is in French, so usually it's France, France and Belgium. You know, so but I do send to the States, and I do.
Do you send any to like Toronto?
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah, across Canada.
Is there anything in particular that most people are looking for? I'm not sure.
Sometimes
if it is
it's plants that are not offered by other places.
Okay,
like a ice plant, for instance.
What's an ice plant?
Ice plant. I can't show it to you. It's
not
not growing
please.
this year.
Yeah.
But I
okay,
can't.
you can't. Okay.
It's not growing this year.
Yeah.
We don't do everything every year. It's like a crunchy plant, like a succulent.
Oh.
That you will eat.
Yes.
It's like a seaside crunchy succulent plant that it shines like if it was blown glass or something.
Oh wow,
That's why
that
it's called
sounds
ice
beautiful.
plant. But it's not icy cold. It's just icy looking.
Yeah.
And it oozes in your mouth like a liquid.
That sounds really
it's like
cool.
There's a salad dressing inside the leaf or something. Like purslane a bit.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you.
It's kind of a shiny purslane.
So if that's the case, for those of us who don't actually have access to it, can we order it through you if you have seeds?
Yeah. So often in the States, I get orders of like this plant or like other stuff that is alternative, or skirret.
Yeah.
You know, skirret is like a perennial carrot.
I had no idea that.
It's like a hardy carrot that was grown in the Middle Ages.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's perennial like asparagus.
How did you find it, or do you collect from others and then start growing your own? Is that how it works?
Well, you know, there's like an international network. Internet helps a lot for
Yeah.
seed sharing, and there's other companies that do sell it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's a new interest
Yeah.
to go for perennial vegetables. A lot more people are going for this, and vegetables that you can harvest many different parts of.
Yeah.
Like in a restaurant, if you grow skirrets, you can sell the roots, but you can also sell the leaves.
That's cool.
You know?
Yeah.
And like cut the leaves in the spring, and that's like one vegetable, and then you have the roots in the autumn, and
that's really good.
So
I guess people are getting more, not say creative, but utilizing the plant in all its
There's a lot
entirety.
happening right now in the garden world, and I see it in seed sales in the CD Saturdays. That's the events we go to every winter, and what people ask for has been changing a lot for the past 15 years.
Cool. Yeah.
The first year I offered skirret, I had about 25 orders, and now it's like everybody wants perennial vegetables.
Yeah.
I'm being asked that a lot.
I'm actually curious about this glass plant. So before we leave today, I want to chat with
skirret?
you.
Yeah. I'll show it to you. It's on the other side.
Oh,
There's
excellent.
another part of the garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this side,
This is parsnip. Yeah.
Do you separate the garden into different things and?
Well, yeah, because just that this area here is, you see there's a whole row of trees behind us.
Yeah.
So in this area, if the north wind starts, the northeaster, it comes from Labrador. You know, very cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
It could drop down 10 degrees in about half hour.
Wow.
So we're freezing cold suddenly. So the barrier of trees here blocks it. So this is my hottest spot for plants.
So the more delicate
on the other side, I have plants that will enjoy the coldest spots. Like there's a wild plant called Oyster Leaf.
Yes.
You know that?
Yes, I know the oyster leaf.
You've tasted it?
Yes, I have.
It's good, eh?
It's crazy. It's like an oyster.
It's very good.
Wow.
So it's the bluish leaves.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. I know some people forage for it.
Yes.
But I'm trying to introduce it to people growing into areas where it doesn't grow wild.
So does it grow naturally?
Yeah, I'm introducing it this year for the first time on the website. It's just that it's hard. Sometimes it takes years to understand how the seeds behave.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sow this like a tomato.
Yeah.
It needs like a period of cold. You actually have to sow the fresh seed in the autumn and then it will take the winter cold, and it will sprout in the spring.
Yeah.
But then it will just go like crazy.
Wow. That's crazy. So that's what we have on this side. I mean, besides the fact that we've got wormwood, which I hadn't actually heard that anybody could use to plant, but it makes a lot of sense if it is a insect deterrent.
It's just a good plant to have around.
Yeah.
Like angelica and all these plants, like even borage, acts like a remedy for bees who come pollinating. It's good for their health, for the bee health, and we need the bees to be as healthy as possible. So,
which is the most finicky type of, I guess, plant that you are growing here?
Well, I would say it's the very warm season, like peppers because sometimes we're at the edge of what they need, to reach. Yeah. Or squashes, sometimes they're really at the edge, and the number of days of degree of for warmth, we're very close to the limit. So has to be put in the ground the right day and harvested the right day. So that's kind of a stress.
Yeah, but ironically, the ones that are more unique, it seems like you don't have as much.
No, like oyster leaf and sea kale, they're so independent. And as it's a colder region, we have less generations of insect than places in the south.
I have a question: is there any fruits here, or is it just vegetables or flowers?
No, there's lots. Like these are all plums.
Oh.
Yeah, these are all plums. I've taken down 3/4 of my plum orchard because it was the trees have grown up. There was not enough sun, but the whole area used to be a plum production area, plum and cherry and pear. So a lot of the plums we grow are damas, and they're not very much known more in the south because they behave better in this neighborhood. Damas plum, you've heard of it?
Yes.
Okay. So there's the Museum of Plums here in Saint-André. Yeah. So it's a very outstanding plum. We have the blue and the yellow one. I've introduced them to another part of the land further.
So you just basically transplanted them instead?
I've sown some because it grows true to seed, and I've transplanted some too. So there's things everywhere. Even the ditches is full of mint. And,
I love that every single corner is something that you can eat.
Everywhere. Even the wild violas are good for salad. And these are baby sea kale. These are the survivors of the winter. So this is the perennial cabbage I was telling you, which is a really good companion to the oyster leaf.
I love the fact that you've got natural, obviously you've got some snails and other...
Yeah, well...
And do you live around here on premise, or... That's what I have someone asking, Mark is asking that. Do you live...
Off of this?
I live
here.
Right here in the house. His home is right here.
Yeah.
Ooh. Just in case.
And we eat mainly the weeding.
So that's funny. So you're weeding to eat, but
weeding isn't a negative thing to do. It's positive because it's like doing your groceries. Because the weeds it's like borage, baby carrots.
And those are pretty delicious sounding weeds.
Yeah, when you do seeds, you create your own weeds.
And Mark says you have no commute and no traffic either. So.
No. So the angelica is important because it's actually it's one of the seeds that I like to produce, and I sell quite a lot of it.
That's a good one there, Mark.
And the root can go into gin distilling, so some small scale distillers.
So do you make your own?
No, I don't. I sell it to people who do it. It's just it's one of those plants that you can use. This is an angelica.
Oh.
So it's one of the plants that it grows all the way to Greenland, so it likes cold.
I had no idea that angelica was this huge. Like it's a tree.
Yeah.
I thought it was always a little shrub.
Yeah. No. It depends in which condition. And if you taste this, it's like the green seeds like this are like a pepper.
I'm gonna.
It can be used.
I was just gonna say to anyone, if I start to like hallucinate or like seem like I'm intoxicated, it's probably because I'm eating all these little. I can't do this alone. Come on.
It's like a very, very spicy, very green pepper.
Oh wow!
A little bitter.
That's got a kick, but it's almost like eating. I don't want to say something medicinal.
Yeah.
But floral.
Medicinal. Yeah.
Almost soapy. Actually, so is that bad?
It's like it's soapy?
Soapy?
It is soapy. I
Yeah.
don't find it bad. It's just that you have to use it, but some chefs do use the green seeds. Of
So do they
angelica.
infuse it into something
Yeah,
like
I think
alcohol?
they
Or?
will, yeah.
Wow.
So the root is very potent too. So you
Yeah,
can
it's
use
not
the
mind
shoots.
altering, but
Yeah.
for sure it
Yeah.
feels like I've just washed my mouth with soap.
So this is the angelica forest.
Oops. Let me flip the camera around.
On the other side, that's the cooler side that I told you of.
Yeah.
It's facing the northeaster wind, and there's a river there, so it's always cool.
Yeah.
When there's too much hot wind from the southwest,
Yeah.
we go garden the other side.
So
which
it's not that you abandon it, it's just
It's another area with
Yeah.
different plants thriving there. So it's good when you have a diversified environment. You can fit the plants that will like the spots to their favorite spots. This is a tuberous chervil. Did you ever have that in a restaurant?
I think so, like with chervil for sure.
Yeah, but it's not. There's three types of chervil growing here. There's real chervil, like the leaves chervil. There's a sweet Sicily, which is like a perennial chervil.
Okay.
And this is tuberous chervil, so it's the root of it. And
And
it tastes like chestnut. It's very, very sweet.
Oh, I don't think I've had this one. If it tastes like chestnut.
The leaf of it is actually toxic.
I don't want that.
No, I want to make you taste it, and I can't make you taste
Okay.
the tuber. But it's a nice looking plant.
So basically, in time of harvest, then you just take the tuber and then you use it like a starchy root
Yeah,
vegetable?
starchy. It makes the best fries. Like
Serious?
very, very sweet fries. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if that's the case, is it
Or
mainly
puree
something?
or
Is
a
that
soup.
for only restaurants have that? Because I don't think I've ever seen that in a
I've only
grocery
seen
store.
that in restaurants.
Wow.
Or at gardeners. You know, chefs are jealous of gardeners often because there's so many stuff. And sometimes we don't even have time to harvest them, and they're just there.
And this one was called again.
Tuberous chervil. It comes from
chervil.
Siberia,
Wow.
from the steppes. So it's very, very rustic.
Yeah. So if anyone sees this, you gotta save this and then make your own French fries because apparently the French fries taste like chestnuts.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool to me. And I like chestnuts, so yeah, anything that tastes like chestnut sounds cool to me.
So this is what I was telling you about the oyster leaf,
Oh yes.
and it's growing with the sea kale. So they make a nice combination, I find here. This is the oyster leaf.
So anyone who's never tried an oyster leaf, these are crazy. Like if you look at them, they kind of look like the shell or at least the color, but when you taste it, it tastes like a fresh shucked oyster. It's
very
wild.
refreshing. And I like the bloom on the leaf,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
that you can
beautiful.
rub off like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that's perfectly healthy, normal.
Oh yeah, it has a bloom, like a grape or a plum.
Yeah.
But it's just what the fun thing is, like recreating false natural sites. Like this grows wild in Northern America.
Yeah.
This grows wild in England.
Yeah.
By the seaside.
Yeah.
It's just that they both like seashores
Seashore.
with seaweed.
So is that why it works well here?
Well,
Because
they're
you said
just-
the environment.
They like the wind. They don't mind the
Yeah,
cold.
yeah.
And I will give them a seaweed dressing during the summer. So both will thrive and have a better flavor because they like the salt and the.
So
the
when you say
seaweed.
seaweed dressing, you mean just laying mats of
I
seaweed?
collect seaweed at the beach here.
Wow,
Which is just.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I give them. I give seaweed to a lot of my vegetables, even carrots and tomatoes.
Because it's full of nutrients. And
Yeah, and I like the taste it gives.
Yeah.
It gives a twist
Yeah.
to the taste of a carrot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to season almost, and that's
No, it seasons. That's why. Yeah, it seasons
natural
the vegetable.
seasoning.
Yeah. So this is another borage. It's the white flowered borage. It has a little. You can't really see it, but it has a better behavior. than
Mm-hmm. I
the
know
blue.
that you said that we are a little early right now for a lot of these plants or vegetables.
Yeah.
So when is the ideal time for most of?
Oh, in
Harvest.
August here it's like, but I kind of like this time too because we can. It's time like the nasturtiums
Yeah,
there. It's time
nasturtiums,
to select the ones I will want to go to seed. So we
How
get
could you
to,
tell if you don't mind me
Because
asking?
we yeah, just
I'm gonna
yeah,
walk
yeah,
around
right?
this.
So we get to go. You see that's a really nice combination. This
Yeah,
is
it's
a
beautiful.
auroch as a weed. I didn't plant this. This is one of because I've let it go to. So I think they look really good together.
Yeah.
This is Empress of India,
Yeah.
nasturtiums, and opera auroch. So both could go in a salad tonight. You know.
Yeah.
If it was, it's just that I will keep. I always sow more seeds than I
Than you
need
need.
to select the best that I think for seeds.
How do you
I
know?
won't eat.
I guess how would you tell? How can you tell what's the best?
I could select like this one because it's bluer. If the blue of the leaves is my main interest, I could select for the biggest, the quickest formation of seeds, or the biggest leaves, or you know, there's many different criterias. In this one, I like the blue color in the leaves, and I could taste. I don't know if you ever tasted the stem.
Yes,
of nasturtiums. This is something. It's like watercress.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I really like it. So you could select for taste. Then you could taste for sweetness.
Oh wow!
Like this one, I just tasted. It's not so sweet.
No, but it's very very bright, and the pepperiness for sure is still there.
So it would be something I would do right the day I will select and take some off. We will taste to select for taste.
Wow!
Because a lot of people eat the flowers, but
so that's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
But is this one? This would be a little bit too big to eat.
Oh no,
right?
you can eat it.
I can eat it.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I'm having my greens. My mom would be so proud. And then with I guess the ditches right here, is that?
It's organic matter. Yeah.
So you just allow that just to.
Oh yeah.
Fertilize itself.
Yeah, exactly. We put some leaves and stems and stuff in the alleys, and I'm actually regaining land on this side towards the river.
And I did have someone ask. I think Mark was asking, do you have anything like, I don't know, wild rice or things that are growing in wet environments?
We have. It's called Sagittaria Wapatu. That's the Indian name. I don't know what it is in English. It's the favorite moose tuber. So it's growing wild, but I've sown wild rice for the first time right now, and I'm waiting for it to sprout. It's not growing right now.
And also Mark was asking if for someone who doesn't do this, like, you know, you obviously are very experienced with growing these sorts of plants and these sort of foods, what would be the top 3 that are good to try or easy to?
I think wild rocket.
Wild
arugula is fabulous to get to introduce oneself to like a wild vegetable, because it's spicier than, well, sometimes you taste it, it's silvetta, sometimes you find it in groceries. It's just that it's smaller and spicier than the plain arugula. And it's just to introduce yourself to a vegetable that remains in your garden. You don't have to till it, it's still there, and it will self-seed. And auroch. I think auroch.
What's auroch? Oh, that's the...
It's just that it won't sprout after 15 Celsius degrees. I mean, if it's too warm, it won't germinate.
So then what would
you have to sow it early in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is something else. This, it used to be called mountain spinach, but feel this. Feel the...
Oh, it's almost...
like velvet.
Velvet, thick.
Yeah. So it's a relative look at the back.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it keeps the color when you cook it. Yeah.
So would you just saute it if you say cooking?
I find it's much better than spinach. Spinach took over for various reasons, but this is easier to you have a month more of harvest.
Because I was thinking, I think last night I was at the Initial, and I think we had some of that on a plate. And I was really quite fascinated because a lot of the leaves and such that we were eating.
I like purple vegetables.
That's beautiful.
There was an article in the Organic Seed Alliance on the West Coast that says purple is the new green.
I like that concept.
There's a lot of purple in the new breeding works.
So you heard that here, folks. Purple is the new green. So if you're going to go for a vegetable, go for something, I guess, purple.
There's a lot of purple brassicas, mustards, and So this is purple, but it only opens during the day. That's salsify, oyster root. Yeah.
Nice.
It's doing its seeds now. So
that's fantastic. I love how we're walking through and we're pretty much snacking. Yep. We are snacking on things we're picking off of the ground. Like, how cool is that? That is awesome. And I like how you call it weeding, but in reality, we're eating. We are feasting on delicious things, and this is crazy. I can't get over the fact that Angelica is like a tree.
You have to smell the...
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Angelica.
That's insane.
It is. It's the best companion to rhubarb you can ever find.
Wow.
Like, you know, tomato basil,
Yeah.
how perfect it is
Yeah.
as a mix? Well, rhubarb angelica is just as perfect.
But what would you do? Would you soak
This
or
is
cook
a little
it?
too much. Like
Yeah.
this is like a
That would be-
too late. But the earlier tender stems,
Yeah.
I just soak the chunks of rhubarb with angelica with sugar, and then it will make some juice.
That's
So
great.
with the juice, you can make like a Mr. Freeze or sherbet, whatever. And with the solids, you can
Yeah.
do whatever you want, a
Yeah.
pie or
Yeah.
like a clafoutis, or eat them like this,
Yeah.
or dehydrate, whatever.
And I know that you mentioned with some of the plants, you know, you don't want to eat the leaves. Like I guess with rhubarb, you don't want to eat the leaves or anything
No.
like that. So what do you do with it? Would you
I use them
compost
as
it or?
no, I use them as a mulch around the rhubarb plants. Yeah.
So basically, right now we were introduced to your two gardens. There was the one that was behind
Yeah.
the trees. That's a little bit more
Yeah, well,
delicate.
there's another one behind the angelicas, and oh, the skirret. You wanted to see the skirret?
Yeah, Richard, you're right. It's almost like Costco, except that this is better. These are like fresher, and you know where the source is coming from.
Yeah, and there's angelica over there, as you can notice. So this is the perennial carrot relative I was telling you about.
Oh yes, that's right.
Here it is.
The scarrots.
Skirret. Yeah.
Skirrets.
Skirret. So this is a baby skirret here, and this is a mommy skirret.
I would not know that that was
Yeah.
a carrot relative at all. That
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't look like.
Well, it
That's
might
great.
look a little bit like some parsnip or
Yeah.
something, but it will bloom soon. White flowers. Yeah.
And can you
and-
eat all the parts of that particular
yeah,
plant
the
too?
young leaves in the spring are good. It's a little late now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's more like the root, which will be harvested either in the autumn or next spring. It's kind of like when you divide dahlias,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's hands. Like
Yeah.
each stem will have many roots,
Yeah.
like a hand, many fingers, and they're sweeter than a carrot or a parsnip. And it tastes almost like coconut or something.
Oh, that's
It's
crazy.
very, very sweet.
I'm very
It's
curious if
starchy.
anyone is using this, and I definitely will go back home to my
You're
other
gonna
restaurants.
hear about it more and more because so many people buy seeds now
Yeah.
of this. It's getting more popular.
And you would use it in every same way as you would eat as a carrot
Not
or
necessarily.
parsnip.
I'm not so fond of it as a stir fry because it loses its crunch
Oh,
very
that's
quickly.
right.
It's more like a raw. I will use it very quickly in a stir fry, like
Yeah,
fry it
yeah, yeah.
very quickly, or it could be put to use in a puree or something, or filling
Yeah.
a stuffing.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's raw
Yeah.
for me.
So everyone's hearing that right here. Skirrets or
Skirret.
skirret
Yeah, skirret.
is the next new vegetable. Purple is also the new green.
Yeah.
And and be prepared to see things like oyster leaves and everything
Oh, yeah, we
coming
hope
up.
so.
Yeah,
We
because
hope so.
well, like I said, we have to chat because I definitely want that in the ice plants you were talking about.
Yeah, well, the ice plant would have been a good companion
Yeah.
with the sea kale and the oyster leaf.
Because it's the same sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that
yeah.
sort of.
And like for a restaurant, it's
Yeah.
like the plate is made. I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to have a bit of protein from the sea with it, and then everything is there.
That's crazy. I still can't get over the fact that these are
Angelicas.
Angelicas. Like,
Yeah.
look at this. It's like a tree.
Yeah.
How old would this particular?
Oh, probably could be 3 years old.
That's it?
Yeah, but then it will die after setting seeds. Yeah.
And do you, in order to harvest
Some
the
of
seeds,
them,
you
like
just
this,
pick them
you
up?
see the
Yeah.
what is very like a
Woody,
one of the
yeah,
luxuries
yeah.
to cut. You see, it has a bloom like
Yeah.
the oyster leaf. If you cut this, you make a glass, and you can drink water that tastes like angelica.
For how long?
Well, for a while, as long as it's fresh.
Fresh,
you know.
yeah. God, that's cool.
Well, when you have a forest of
Yeah.
angelicas like this, you can try many things.
True, that's true.
But that's part of my fun, you know.
Yeah. So what is your most, I guess, innovative or is your most ingenious thing that you have found in all your
Good
play?
question. I don't really know. I don't know. Like, one of the things that I find pretty well, it's just a hint I had of
Yeah.
things American Indians did
Yeah.
and Italian people did. There's like different links between the two cultures that I find interesting. If I went to school, I would study ethnobotanics and I would try to study that link.
Yeah.
Like both people have been desiccating squash, and I find that like zucchini is at its best. Italians call it ascapeche,
Yeah.
and the American Indian tribes did that a lot, like
Yeah.
in the northern Dakota.
Yeah.
So, and it's so much better if you dry it.
Oh,
Not totally dry.
yeah.
but you dry it to like a much less water in it. So when you cook it, there's no water,
Yeah.
like mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you get this texture and concentrated taste that is fabulous.
So any squash or
Well, some varieties will do better than others.
Any ones
like
in your...
patty pan squash or zucchini, it's fabulous if you do this.
That's good.
It's amazing. It's
I'll
totally
do that
different.
right. I'll be
Yeah.
do that soon.
You can make, even if the zucchini, like costata romanesco is like a variety I really like.
Yeah.
And even when it's really big, you can make like fake fettuccine with it, and you dry it so it
Yeah.
remains supple, but it won't break. when
That's
you
so
cook it.
cool.
Yeah, this is so it's interesting to think that Italians made it out, and
Yeah.
then American Indians made it out
Yeah.
on their other side, and then the polenta, the corn polenta.
Yep, yep.
It would come from the American Indians because polenta in Italy was made with like épeautre, like
Yeah.
spelt,
Yeah.
or buckwheat even before. It seems like it's American Indians who provided the genetic material for the corn polenta, like Italian settlers in
Exactly,
the U.S. would have
That's what I would
sent
thought,
seeds
yeah.
over there. So the links between cultures is
That's
something
really cool.
that is very...
But I guess that's also saying that there must be something right if people on other sides of the world that they all come up with the same thing, or they come up with the same kind of methodology. That's really
So that's
cool.
where food brings us.
Yeah.
It's the
That's true.
communication between people.
Exactly. So like we were saying at the very beginning, anybody who's just joining right now, you can definitely find out more or order seeds from Patrice here at his website, which is again
La Société des Plantes, all in one word. But don't worry, it's like a very old website. I'm working on a new version. It doesn't have instant PayPal. It's like there's an email in between, so I get to explain everything in English if you want.
because he's got over 200 seed varieties that he
like a lot of
yeah.
small seed
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely am going to be speaking to him very soon about some of these really rare items that I find really cool since I'm here. And this is a crazy great place. I'm really happy that Normand had said, you gotta go and
Well, yeah,
see.
he was raised like
Yeah.
20 minutes away, so
Yeah.
that's why we have this special link, because it's his source, and then it's the source of things that go to his
Exactly.
restaurant. So we have this symbolic relationship.
Yeah. It's fantastic, and you have a really cool place. You're doing some awesome things, and yeah.
The ground
Taste it.
here is something. It's not just me. It's the soil. The soil is beautiful. It really gives taste.
But I'm thinking you're also providing to it too, because you're
Yeah.
treating and nurturing it well as well. So it's a symbiotic relationship
Yeah.
there too. It is
Yeah.
giving back as you're giving to it.
yeah.
So, wow.
Like peasants were always keepers of the land. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you very much. We're going to say bye to my viewers here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And if you have any questions, do definitely send them either my way or to Patrice himself, because he obviously knows a lot. And do check out the website. And even though it's coming into a revamp soon, it's still in operation. So you can find out a lot about what you might be able to do in your own garden or backyard. It might not be as impressive as this, but maybe that's why you have to come out here and see if you can bug this gentleman for a tour. And Mark says, thanks, is really informative. Yes, thank you very much too on behalf of
my
myself.
pleasure.
This is really great.
It's the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
good.
Have a happy weekend, everyone, and thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.